really good at me. Super happy to that. By if I all right.
Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and council, with your agreement, we're going to bounce a little bit back and forth between a couple of meetings, so be patient with that. As we begin our meeting, we're going to begin with a invocation or thought. I've asked Councilman Watson to give that, and then Councilman Robertson, would you give us or lead us in the pledge?
Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity we have to meet as a city council and discuss the business of the city. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to serve the city and our citizens. Father, please bless and guide us at this time that we might be able to have productive discussions and find good solutions to the problems that are facing our city. And we are so grateful of all the blessings that we have in this great city and state that we live in. And we ask for thy guidance during this meeting. We do these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we adopt the agendas as stated? Can I get a motion?
To adopt. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our first item that we're going to deal with tonight is we have a couple of items of recognition, and I want to deal with that while we have our all those here who came just for that in case they get called away. So item A is a presentation from the Utah Chief of Police Association. So I'll ask our chief to come forward, and this would be recognizing our achievement of accreditation. Chief Davis, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Val Shoup with the Utah Chiefs Police Association is here to present a recognition to Syracuse Police Department for the efforts that we undertook this past year for reaccreditation through the Utah Chiefs Police Association. I've shared some information about this in the past, but it's a very rigorous process, and I was aided greatly by Officer Hunter Bennett with Syracuse Police Department. Hunter, I'd like to invite you to come up here as well. And Val, if you want to come up, sir. And I'll let Val take it from here.
Council and Mayor, it's a pleasure to be here on behalf of the Utah Chiefs of Police Association to present the accreditation award to the city. You may be aware that Syracuse has been accredited for the last 5 years, but it was time for the reaccreditation, and so we have accomplished that. Officer Bennett did a tremendous job with this going through. I was the assessor on this particular assessment, and I would send things back to him that need to be corrected. He was very, very pertinent getting those back to us. Just to give you a background on this, the accreditation process we have in the state of Utah, we're a member of about 38 states, and we are the recognized accreditation agency for the state of Utah, and we are recognized by DOJ. And what it entails is these cities, having been a police chief in the past, in my former world, I know what it is to a council to make sure that they realize the liabilities that come with being a police department. And one of those is their policies and procedures. So what the accreditation process does is the department has to conform to city ordinances, state laws, legislative laws, and federal laws. And as each year we have a process where we go through and a new edition comes out based on the legislature, what they've passed, on new things that the city's done, on new things that the federal has done. And then what we go through is we go through each one of these. This particular edition that they accredited on has 177 standards that they had to go through. Now, they just don't get to put a policy in and say they have it. They have to show us that they're actually doing it. And they have to show some of those that they've done in the last 12 months. For example, you may have the evaluation of an employee. They have to show us that they've done an evaluation of an employee. Now, of course, some of that stuff's redacted because we don't want that out into the public, but they have to show us that they've actually done that. And that goes along with all of these standards. They are then assessed through that process. Then we come to the department itself and actually do an on-site visit. One of the main things that we're most interested in is evidence and records. Evidence is probably the biggest issue law enforcement has at times in their evidence rooms. They're either overcrowded, they lose it, they don't know where it is. In this particular case, I can assure you that Syracuse has a very effective evidence procedure, and they have supervisors who know what they're doing, and they're very cognizant of their responsibilities. And so I commend the Chief Davis for that, because he has great supervisors, and he was very cordial to us and allowed us to come in, talk to his investigators, his patrol officers. We went through the evidence procedures. We went through records and how they maintain the records and how the procedures that they have for those on grammar requests and so forth. And they were very efficient in that. So having said that, it is my pleasure to present this award to the Syracuse Police Department. The accreditation, which says, and I'll read this, it says Syracuse Police Department approved and accredited in recognition for the completion of the standards for certification and accreditation as prescribed and mandated by the Utah Accreditation Alliance and the Utah Chiefs of Police Association, November 2025. Chief. My pleasure.
Thank you. That is wonderful, and we appreciate you, all of everybody whose work went into that. Next item that we have is we have a presentation of the Utah Supervisory Fire Officer designation to Captain Clay Nelson. If Chief Byington would come forward.
Mayor, Council, thanks for letting me have a little bit of time on your agenda. I absolutely love the time that I get to come up here and brag about our staff. So I'd like to invite Captain Nelson up.
You got that face.
Captain Clay Nelson has been awarded the Utah Supervisory Fire Officer designation as outlined by the International Association of Fire Chiefs and adopted by the Utah Commission on Fire Officer Designation. Captain Nelson has combined hundreds of hours of training, education, and experience to meet the requirements for this designation. His hard work and commitment to this process shows his dedication not only to the Utah State Fire Service, but to Syracuse City and our department. There's probably, I don't have the exact number, but there's probably right around only 100 people in the state that have this designation. And so this is a pretty big deal for Captain Nelson and for our department. So please join me in congratulating him. We've given him a nice little framed plaque and then a pin that he can wear on his uniform. So
Thank you, sir.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. Well, it's wonderful. Our fire department has more accreditations than I've heard of anywhere. I'm just so impressed with all that they do. All right, council, I'm going to take a brief recess from our business meeting so that we can discuss a couple of items and call us into a work session. We don't typically do this. I will be very clear. We typically reserve things for separate times, but we do have two things because this is a brand new council that have to be addressed in a timely manner. So we're going to cover them tonight and vote on them in the next meeting. The first item is discussion regarding business meeting agenda item number 3, consideration of appointments for special districts. If we don't get them appointed, they will miss the first round of meetings, and I think that's important that we get there. We have 2 special district meeting appointments that are coming up. One is for the Waste Management District, and I plan to fulfill that myself. It is largely fulfilled by mayors across the county. And the other is the Mosquito Abatement District. And I have asked Councilwoman Robertson if she's interested in that. I think that what she brings to the table that we haven't had in a little while is most of that meeting talks about diseases and things that are mosquito-borne pathogens. And so we used to have a nurse in that place. Julie is a nurse, and I think that that would serve us good to have that again. Is there any discussion on these 2 recommendations?
I think that would be great.
Okay. The next item on our discussion is We have a situation where we have been working with legislators on a particular proposed amendment to legislation that would affect only Syracuse. And to help that, we would like to pass a resolution that says that we approve of this so that all of the efforts that we're going to, if we can get that passed through the legislation, would be accepted by this body. In particular, there was a bill that was passed last year that allowed Southern Utah, and specifically the Hurricane City, to to impose a use tax that would help pay for firefighters that serve in national parks. We have a particular situation where we have a need. We are way underfunded. We've spent millions serving Antelope Island. If they would make a 2-word amendment to that bill that allowed for a major state park to qualify as well, we would be able to do the same, which would mean that all of the people out of town that come and shop and do their business here would be contributing to that need and the service that goes out to the island. So with that said, we have been working with legislators. Like I said, we want to be able to put in the bill packet before the legislative session begins that it has the support of this council. Are there any questions about that? I know that was a lot, but we can talk about that offline as well. But is there any public questions you have?
Do we know, Mayor, based on the current bill, how restrictive that is? Or can it be used for any fire EMS services as long as it's going towards our fire department, or is it more restrictive than that? We know.
It is a little bit more restrictive, but it would serve our needs because it takes care of anything that would apply to firefighters. And that's where our weakness is right now. It would help us bolster our department because when we go out on a call to the island, it's several hours by the time they go out and come back. So augmenting our staff so that we can take additional calls really protects Syracuse citizens so that we're not left unprotected. And so we're just hoping that all the visitors help pay for that. And that's kind of where this goes. I know that it can be used for specialty equipment as well. In our case, that's not where we need it.
It can be used for
It
staff.
could be used for staff. And that's where we need it.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity if we can pipe into that. That would.
It is a bill that applies at this point only to one county in Utah. We're just trying to make it so that it would apply to us as well. And the amendment we're asking for would make it only apply to us. So I know there's some concern that this would be a widely used opportunity. I've assured legislators that we're not asking for that. Okay, with those items discussed, I'm going to adjourn us from the work session and move us back into the business meeting where we will hold a public hearing. Public hearing is first on consideration for special service districts. I will declare us in public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on our efforts with special service districts before we go to vote on that? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a proposed resolution R-2601, appointing members to the Davis Mosquito Abatement District, and also R-2602, appointing a member to the Wasatch Integrated Waste District.
I move that we accept proposed resolution R-2601, appointing the members as outlined to the Davis County Mosquito Abatement District and the Wasatch Integrated Waste Management District.
Second.
Mayor, I need to point out that the resolutions have blank spaces, so Paul will need you to include the names of the people you'd like to put in there.
Okay, I'll do it again. I propose that we accept resolution R-2601, appointing Julie Robertson to the Davis County Mosquito Abatement District. And I move that we accept proposed resolution R-2602, appointing Mayor Dave Mon to the Administrative Control Board of the Wasatch Integrated Waste Management District.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. And now I will open this up. We have public comment for any items that somebody may want to comment on for the rest of our agenda. Do I have anybody here who would like to make public comment? Come forward, please. We'll ask you to state your name for the record and your address so we know where you're from. And you have up to 3 minutes to share with us.
Very good. So my name is Andy Oblad. I live in Farmington, Utah. Do you need more of an address than that?
We know that you're not from here, I guess.
I'm not from here. I'm interested in Syracuse, though. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, for allowing for public comment. The reason I'm here tonight, I'm running for sheriff in Davis County. And I want to just get to know your city council a little bit better. I've worked with members of the fire department and the police department, especially the chief. But at any rate, I just want to give a brief background about me and my career. I've been working 28 years in law enforcement, and currently I work for the Davis County Sheriff's Office as a chief deputy. I started my career in Salt Lake City. I worked there 21 years, and it was a great career. I worked in many different assignments, and some of my favorite assignments was working in the schools as a school resource officer. Also worked in investigations and on the motor squad. I don't know if you've seen the motorcycles, but that's a pretty good job. I moved up to sergeant, and I supervised the downtown bike patrol and worked in internal affairs. I ended up promoting to lieutenant, so moved up through the ranks and worked in special operations and as watch commander. Ultimately, after 21 years, I decided it was time to leave law enforcement. I retired and went to work for the Utah Jazz as their team security specialist and provided executive protection for the team, the players and the coaches. I did that for about 2 seasons, and it sounds like a pretty glamorous job. It was not a glamorous job. It was a lot of travel, way more travel than anybody should have to do. And after about 2 seasons of that, I started looking for a job where I could be home with my family, and applied to be a chief deputy with Kelly Sparks back in 2019. He was elected a sheriff of Davis County Sheriff's Department, and I was appointed over law enforcement. And that's patrol. That's a chief over investigations, over the courts, court security, the bailiffs, crime lab. Did that for about 4 years. And then I went and worked a couple of years over the administration bureau. And that's over the finances and grants and emergency management. And lastly, I did that for 2 years. And lastly, for the last year, I've worked as the chief deputy over corrections. And that's over the jail, over our men and women that are serving in civilian roles and in sworn roles, working in the jail, keeping our population there safe and keeping our community safe. And as you can see, I worked in all 3 bureaus of the sheriff's office as a chief.
I'm sorry, I have to cut you off there.
Well, I think I got like
there will
5
be
seconds,
more-
but thank you so
More
much.
time to talk to you at another time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
The next item on our, oh, wait a minute. Is there anyone else that you'd come forward? State your name and address for the record. Thank you. Even though most of us know who you are.
Terry Palmer, 2486 West, 1500 South in Syracuse.
Welcome.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Congratulations to Councilmember Andrea Brown and Abraham Pollard. Congratulations. Looking forward to working with you. I'd like to report on the museum for 2025. It was a good year. So in 2023, we had 838 people visit the museum. In 2024, we had 3,851, nice increase. And in 2025, we had 8,158. Just want to tell you that we're doing well. We really appreciate your support. as you're here in the city. Also to note that we did pick up the property next door, and there's a 2,400 square foot building there that we are getting it on the inside to where we can put displays and make it part of the museum. We received an endowment from somebody, and we appreciate the endowment that was given to us. Also, along with that, we received a $50,000 State of Utah grant that is helping us to finish the building, which will cost us about, $100,000 to $110,000 to do. Our biggest event typically is the museum at Halloween. So it was an excellent night. We had over 2,200 people go through the museum. It was a madhouse. And so it was really good. We really appreciate the support of the city. One other note that I would like to give to you, we have the old fire engine over there. Have you all seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we found out an incredible discovery. That fire truck in Syracuse was used as their first truck was built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers during World War II and used as a Gowan field in Boise, Idaho. This is one of 3 trucks that is known. So it's a nice piece of equipment. We appreciate Lawrence Briggs, who is no longer with us, but he's the one who drove all the way to Idaho, Boise, Idaho, picked it up, paid for it himself. He was a council member at the time, and he brought it back, and at 2:00 in the morning, he drove through what was then the city and woke everybody up with the sirens. Now it is ours. So anyway, thank you for the time.
Appreciate your time. Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment. And we will move on to item number 5, which is a report from our city victims advocate. We can have her come forward. Thank you for coming and sharing tonight.
Thank you for having me. This is so tall. Oh, can you guys hear me just fine though? That's probably good then. Okay. I think I have a PowerPoint that we can show. I made it cute and pink because pink makes me happy with flowers.
Okay.
But I don't know. We can start by introducing myself to the new council members. I'm Celeste Hopkins, and I'm the victims advocate. I've been here for almost 7 years, 6.5. It'll be 7 years, July 1st. I've enjoyed my time here. I've grown a lot as an individual and also as a victims advocate. And I'm excited to, share a little bit of what I do for the city. I don't know if you guys had a chance to go over the PowerPoint before tonight's meeting, but we are contracted with Clinton and Sunset. So I do take care of all 3 cities. And I'll be showing you guys a little bit about what's going on with our victim service program. Okay, so I'm first going to start by, the usual, where we go over stats and kind of where we're at. These stats are showing the last 5 months. So from July 1st to January 7th is when I pull the stats. And as we can see, Syracuse is definitely up there in comparison to Clinton and Sunset. Sunset has not been keeping me busy, which is good. I'm able to, balance everything out with that. Although Clinton's not that behind from us, it does kind of vary when it comes to Syracuse and Clinton. I did pull the stats today, and those numbers, I was able to add a few more. So as of today, we're at 195 victims. There's still a few more I have to add, but I would say we're about 200 since July 1st of 2025. I think next time I'm definitely going to add a slide where I want to show you guys kind of a comparison so you guys can see it in front of you guys, comparing the same time frame, but a different time, right? So I pulled the numbers from July 1st, 2024 to January 7th, 2025. So same timeline, just a different year, 5 months. And we were at 142 victims when I pulled those numbers during that time period in July 2024 and 2025. And we're at 188 now combined with all 3 cities. So we can see there's about a 40, not the best at math. So, this is just off the top of my head, about 40 victims more that I've worked with this time of year now. With the holidays, we usually see a little bit of a jump when it comes to, people are spending more time together, families are together, sometimes there's alcohol, and that's kind of a common denominator when it comes to domestic violence. So we did see, December was kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. It was a little overwhelming, but we got through it, and now we just, have to keep on moving forward. So during the holiday season, I also pulled stats to kind of give you guys an idea of what I worked with. And I counted the holidays as from Thanksgiving to the New Year's weekend, so January 3rd. So about November 26th to January 3rd of 2026. And I worked with about 40 victims, and this is all 3 cities combined. And I did notice more calls were actually coming in that were involving male as victims, which was kind of interesting. Just in Clinton, real quickly, we actually had 3 females that were arrested the same weekend for domestic violence. I think that's the most I've seen in just females arrest in one weekend, and that was over New Year's weekend. With that being said, again, victims during the holiday season, I also, the comparison was there was 18 males and 22 females. So you can see it's kind of like males are up there as well. Before in the past, we would see more females calling in or more females victim than males, and males are kind of climbing up there as well, making it more even. If you guys have questions, feel free to interrupt me. I tend to talk really fast too. We can go to the next slide. So this one right here, it's a graph just showing you guys, those are the 5 most common victimizations or cases that I deal with when it comes to crime. Obviously, domestic violence is always the one that's up there, with Syracuse being 79 and Clinton being 51. So with, again, Sunset, we were really slow, so that's always good. But stalking and harassment, we often see, I've noticed a lot of cases that are being screened, or charges are being filed for electronic communication harassment. So victims are needing more resources, as in more explanation on what's going on with the cases, the court process, and so on. More notifications being provided to the victims as well. Syracuse had Syracuse had the most DV cases compared to the other cities, so 79 cases, and Clinton at 51. And then I also noticed with child abuse cases, I've seen reports come in where I've worked, usually this is the highest number I've actually worked with child abuse cases in such a short amount of time. And the reason being is because those cases are either being investigated a little bit more because charges are going to be screened, or charges have been filed. So because it actually got was filed in our criminal justice system with the court system, that's when I get involved. In child abuse cases where we don't have any criminal charges, normally I don't get involved unless I'm requested to do so. So that's kind of a number that I saw that did go up in the last few months. We can move on. Let's see. And then these are This next slide would be the services that were provided. I'm only gonna go over the ones that I think are probably the most important, although all of them are important. But number one, which is information on criminal justice system, criminal justice process, pretty self-explanatory. That was 293 times. Again, that 293 number, or that number we see on that row is times and not victims. So potentially I can help a victim and explain the criminal justice process 5 times. So it's just how many times I go over that. When it comes to prosecution interview advocacy, that's how many times I communicate with the prosecutor in all cities. A lot of that involves a lot of sending, emailing notes on each case for that specific court date. So I have court on Wednesdays and then Thursdays. Wednesdays it's Syracuse, and then Clinton right after Syracuse we have the scene judge. And I always send those emails to the prosecutors. There are 4 prosecutors I work with. There's 2 in Clinton, 1 in here, Mr. Winchester, and the 1 in Sunset, which actually now it's Ryan and Brandon who work for the county. So building those relationships with those prosecutors is very important to be able to, to stay on the same page when it comes to victimization in the court system. Let's see. So I've also seen more cases where they're being sent to the county. And what that means is these cases that are coming in are more serious. So they're more serious, they're more dangerous. Victims are needing a little more attention. And what that includes is more emotional support, more explanation on what's going on, talking about safety. I've actually given a lot of safety plan with a lot of victims this last month, and that really entails like, okay, what can you do in order in case you have to leave the house in emergency? Oh, you can go to Walmart and buy those, a burner phone. The burner phone, you can hide it. It's somewhere where only you know. And if you have to leave that house or your phone gets broken, you have that burner phone to either call 911, call your mom, whoever you need to call, but you have that extra communication, and no one knows about that. So I really like that plan that I always give to victims, especially of domestic violence. And then, so last week, I didn't want to point this out. When it comes to the court, last week I had 13 or 14 cases in Syracuse and Clinton combined. That's a lot of cases. And all of those cases actually needed a little bit more discussion with the prosecutors. And there was 4 protective orders or pretrial protective orders that were requested. And what that means, I also have to send all that information over to the court clerks to be able to get all that information inputted or in the system. And then I have to call the victim, let them know, okay, here's your protective order, either mail it out, a copy, or email a copy of the protective order. So there's just more things to do with each specific case. So it's just more time consuming. We can go on to the next slide. I don't know what time I'm at, to be honest. This is kind of the same thing I was just talking about with the slide previously. It just kind of shows, it breaks down the ones for the services provided for Syracuse only. Most of them is just offering resources, and that is talking about CVR, Crime Victim Reparation Program, talking about how to obtain a protective order, Safe Harbor Crisis Center, what else can it be? Utah Legal Services. There's a lot of resources out there that are available for victims. So a lot of the times we go through all of them. A lot of the times they only need one, just case-by-case scenario. Notifications of criminal justice events, just letting them know when the next court date is. And then the emotional support is a big one as well. We can go on to the next slide. Okay, so what's new? Summer events. It's always nice, to know that summer is right around the corner. So I'm going to be prepping for that soon, kind of figuring out what to do for Syracuse Heritage Days and what fun things I'll be giving out to kids. So I'm excited for that. And then we have our victim service training that's coming up next month. We've actually been working on this for, I kid you not, at least a year now. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out with everybody's schedule. I wanted to do one training where all the departments can come, so we don't have to do multiple. So we finally were able to do that. And we are going to do it here in Syracuse at our training in our conference room. And then I asked Trent Dressen, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's a prosecutor for the Utah Council. Utah Council Prosecutor's Office in Salt Lake, and he's really good at presenting information when it comes to domestic violence, sex assault, and that's what he does. So I'm excited for him to present to our officers on how to deal with being trauma informed, domestic violence, and how to work with victim advocates, because it's always really nice to be able to, have that extra training. And then I'm also we're going to have a survivor story who's going to share what happened in their life when it came to being a victim of a crime. And this survivor is actually a local who grew up in Syracuse. She's about my age, and I'm really excited for officers to hear this story because it happened here. And so I'm excited for that training. I'll have to let you guys know how that goes on the next meeting when I'm here. And then challenges. We kind of went over this a little bit as well when I was talking about services, but again, victims just need more time and more emotional support. I've been meeting with victims in person a lot more than I have ever in the last 6-7 years I've been here. And that's just because it's easier to, build that relationship in person and kind of seeing that person and face to face, and they feel more comfortable also opening about their personal life when they have someone in front of them. Seeing an increase again in violent DV crime, so they just need more education regarding their victim rights, what resources, procedures, and challenging times for LE, as a lot of law enforcement, a lot of our officers are new. So of course, these new officers need more training, and I want to make sure we're all on the same page. I want to make sure not just Syracuse, but also Clinton, because, I'm their victims advocate. So they require more training and more education when it comes to our victim service program. And then difficulty keeping up with cases and maintaining program in a good standing with our federal guidelines. Let me reword that. I'm still keeping up with the federal guidelines. So everything's great there. But what I'm trying to get at with that is that with everything being so busy with how much time victims are needing from me, I'm having a difficulty time trying to figure out where I'm going to fit this volunteer or intern in my schedule. When you bring on a volunteer, an intern, which usually they're interns from Weber State University, I want to make sure they're being properly trained. I want to make sure that they have my full attention. So it's kind of tricky trying to provide all of this when my schedule is already a little tight. But everything will work out in the end. And then right now, unfortunately, I do have a few projects on hold just because my #1 priority in this program is making sure our victims are being taken care of. They deserve to be taken care of. They deserve to be obviously inform on what's going on with the case, and aside from that, it's in their rights, right? So we just want to make sure that their advocate is being good and keeping them updated on what's going on. And then victim service folders, those are actually really time consuming. So I need to kind of figure out a way, what's the best way to maybe not have it be so time consuming, because they have to be printed, put together, and believe it or not, it actually takes a little bit of time. But we do have volunteers that I should probably utilize a little bit more. So I'm kind of been like brainstorming on how I can, better utilize volunteers that we do have in the police department. Updating our web page, that has been a goal of mine for about a year now. I have to get with Kara. Kara's very nice, and I know she'll help me when I have the time to come talk to her. So I would like to update that and make it like more victim friendly, maybe provide more information and so forth. And then lastly, I did talk to Chief Davis about this a little bit. I want to make some of the interview rooms a little more family friendly. When you walk in there, they're kind of like dull and boring. So I think if maybe we can, I don't know, do something more where here in Syracuse, I just asked permission if we can buy little bins where I can put coloring books and some crayons in case a mom comes with a toddler who wants to be kept busy with toys, something along those lines. I don't know, put a happy picture on the wall, something like that, just to make it a little bit more friendlier. But that's kind of what the projects I really want to get done this year, and we'll get to it eventually. But that's where we're at with challenges. And then I'm just going to end it with the next slide with a happy stuff. Why not end it with a happy ending? So in December, I saw a lot of and I didn't pull stats. If you guys want to know stats, I can definitely get that pulled for you. But for me personally, I saw a lot of suicide that happened during the holiday season. For whatever reason, I feel like it spiked. I don't know the numbers. Again, I can pull those numbers if you guys need me to. I can talk to Mariana or the whatever police department. But it kind of had me thinking, man, we need something like good, right? Like we need to do something, I don't know, some positive during the holidays. And so the goal was to, there was a family in one of the cities I work with where their children, they're not very, how do you put it? They don't have the best picture of law enforcement. So they don't like talking to officers. They try to stay away. Why? Because every time they have an interaction with an officer, it's a negative interaction, right? They're either seeing mom and dad being arrested or something negative is going on. So I wanted to create a positive interaction with the youth. I spoke to Chief Davis, and then I was given permission to, out of the victim service budget, to buy 25 gift cards, $5 each for Maverick. And the goal was to have officers just go out there and start a positive interaction with the kid, just be cool. I don't know, they're 14, talk about skateboards or whatever they talk about these days, Sergeant Johnson and his crew there, I've heard they're really good. So then I was going to share some pictures, but then I wasn't able to. I talked to Kara about that, and I'd rather be safe, So I wasn't able to share those pictures, but they did go to Bluff Ridge Elementary and, interacted with kids, played games, and I thought that was really cool. I just wanted something positive during the holidays. So that made me smile seeing those pictures. That is my happy ending for my presentation. And yeah, do you guys have any questions, concerns, comments? That was a lot. I'm sorry.
I think I can comment for all of us that we're really grateful for the hard work that you do for our city and for the surrounding cities and for our victims. That matters a lot to us, and we're very aware of the work that you do, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much. I am kind of curious if next time we could see how many of our victims are repeat victims. Like statistically, obviously you can't give us demographics and names, but I am kind of curious with the increase in the spike of how much of that is, in my line of work, we used to call them our frequent flyers, right? How many of those people are continuing to use our services? I would just be curious on what the statistics of that is. But I conclude with, again, thank you so much.
No, thank you. I'll definitely keep that in mind for next time. Any other questions? No?
Thank you.
No, thank you guys.
Appreciate your time. The next item on our agenda is approval of minutes. We have minutes from December 9th, council business meeting, and December 9th, council work session, because and then we had a special session on December 22nd. Do we have any amendments to those minutes, or I'll take a motion to approve them?
I motion that we approve the minutes from December 9th, and the 22nd as outlined in items A, B, and C.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item on our list, we have to do this every couple of years. This is proposed resolution R 26-03 designating and appointing certain officers for Syracuse City. We do reappoint the police chief, the city treasurer, and the city recorder. Is there any questions about this, or I'll take a motion?
Do we need to name the people specifically?
Well, I'll name them right now. It would be Chief Davis as the police chief. You're still with us, bud. And treasurer would be Steve Marshall, and the city recorder is Cassie Brown.
I move that we accept proposed resolution R 26-03 designating and appointing the city officials that the mayor just detailed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 8 is authorize Mayor Mon to execute license agreement between the United States of America Bureau of Reclamation and Syracuse City for trail and drainage improvements adjacent to the Layton Canal. This is described in your packet. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, we can just go straight to an approval. I'll take a motion then.
I move that we authorize Mayor Mon to execute license agreement between the United States of America Bureau of Reclamation and Syracuse City for trail and drainage improvements adjacent to the Layton Canal.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Also passes unanimously. Proposed resolution R 26-04 expressing support for the proposed legislation authorizing a limited optional local sales tax dedicated to emergency services for communities serving qualified state parks. This is what we talked about in our previous work discussion. Is there any further questions on this? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve proposed resolution R 26-04 as set forth in agenda number 9, item 9.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Item number 10 is a report from Syracuse City America 250 committee regarding planned events. As you remember, in our December 9th meeting, we formed this committee and we have met twice now and talked about activities, and we wanted to come back and report what the plan was for some of those activities. Do you want to take it or do you want me to take it?
You do it this time. I didn't bring my notes. I don't know why.
Okay, so we did put this in there, but there are a couple of items that we've put forward. We have some items that are going to take place in the museum and help with the museum staff, and I have written a letter to the museum staff to get their support, and hopefully we have on our committee the museum city employee who is doing an awesome job, and I credit Neldon a lot for the increase in traffic over there. But for this, there will be an opportunity for youth to do one of 3 events that they would earn a challenge coin for that would be just from our city. The first would be to do an in-city or in the museum scavenger hunt where they would find answers to 90 questions. And if they were to do that, they could earn this. The next would be a travel, what they call a walkabout. And that walkabout would be travel throughout the city and take selfies at some different sites, maybe 20 to 25. We're asking them to kind of look at the most historic sites in the city. And that would get them familiar with some of the historic parts of our city. And the last one was to the suggestion that we would have anyone who wanted to memorize the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, because that's what we're celebrating, our Declaration for Independence. In that second paragraph, it's 270 words. It kind of outlines what is taking place in the specific grievances throughout the rest. And I did a similar project to this when I was just a small kid, asked to memorize the Gettysburg Address, and I have learned from that throughout my life. So we think this is a good challenge, and they would pass that off with one of the docents that are volunteers at the museum. So that's the general one. We also have a project that we decided would be a good opportunity for us. We would do a citywide series of fundraisers to do a new park memorial. Syracuse does not have a veterans memorial, and we wanted to do some kind of veterans memorial, which would still be designed and dedicated at a spot that we decide as a council. But this, if we were to raise some money for this and we can get some matching funds and grants and things that we apply for, we could get a proper veterans memorial here in Syracuse, which we do not have. This, one of the parameters of that I did sit was some cities do a memorial just to those who have passed. We want to do one to all who served. So it wouldn't list specific people because we don't know what the parameters of that would be. That would be difficult to say. Do you just list the people who lived here, the people who were born here, the people who left from serving here? So rather than list specific names, we would list each branch of the service in our memorial and make sure there is a proper designation for that. And lastly, there is a suggestion, though we have not confirmed this one because it's still out there, of doing some kind of celebratory Americana style segment race during Heritage Days one day, where it would be all of those traditional things that you would do at a county fair, and you could get together with a team and you could, if just participation, you would earn you a coin. And we thought that that was a great idea. Those were our suggestions coming out of our 2 meetings. Council, do you have any feedback for the committee for the things that we came up with?
The only thing, I think it sounds awesome. The only thing on number 1, the youth brigade.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're right. We did set out, I was doing all this from memory, sorry.
Yeah.
Our first thing was going to be, we were going to ask for a youth brigade to lead the Heritage Days parade. This youth brigade would be made up of children or youth from 14 to 18. We're going to ask all the stakes to help us round up people. They will bring an American flag. We want to get 250 or more American flags to march down and lead the parade, which we all think will be an amazing, awesome sight.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that first one was. Sorry.
Yes, and I think that is cool. I'd like to see the invitation extended to other,
Sure.
any youth, the LDS or not, whoever would like to participate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, the reason we did that one was we did the math. There's 7 stakes with 6 or 7 wards. It would be maybe 5 kids per group. That would get us at least enough, but we will open this up to everybody. We just thought if we distribute the invitation that way, we could assure that we'd get at least 250.
Yeah.
If we just put it out through the schools, we were worried we wouldn't get enough. Any other suggestions? Is everybody okay with our suggestions?
I can tell you that when I talked with my kids about it, they were all pretty excited. They thought it would be a great fun thing to do. So that's 4 of the youth in our city.
I think it's a great opportunity to include our youth. And I think even if we are able to pull off some kind of relay challenge where it's got a couple of different events, I think it'd just be downright fun. I think it'd just be a chance where even youth could get together and make their own team. And it doesn't matter who wins. It'd be just fun to be a part of Americana heritage. Okay, so that's just a report. I appreciate everyone for that. The next is an annual Open and Public Meetings Act training. I'm going to turn the time over to our city attorney, Colin, to give us a brief update. I thought it was really important with a new council that we cover this early in the year. We will talk about another part of this in ethics at a later date, but we really want to make sure that we talk about the things that we have to do to meet the parts of this law. Colin.
Thank you, Mayor. This will probably take us about 20 minutes. I think I have developed 17 or 18 questions. You will not be graded on your answers. You don't need to publish them. But we'll go through some questions and answers and have some discussions. Hopefully this will be informative for all of us.
Great.
Question number 1, which of the following is not a public body? The Beautification Committee, the Redevelopment Agency, the City Council, or the Planning Commission? Anybody want to take a shot?
The Beautification Committee.
Why do you say that, Paul?
Because it's a appointed committee.
Okay. The definition of a public body has 5 things that are in the statute. Number 1, it's a legislative body of a political subdivision. Syracuse is a political subdivision, and we have legislative bodies. The Beautification Committee is not one of those. Number 2, the legislative body has to be created by law, either by constitution or state statute or ordinance. Number 3, it has to consist of 2 or more people. Number 4, it expends, disperses, or is supported in whole or in part by tax revenue. And number 5, it is vested with authority to make decisions regarding the public's business. So if you have all 5 of those things, then you have a public body, and it is public bodies that are required to have open meetings. Next question. A meeting is a gathering of a public body for what purpose? A, to receive public comment about a relevant matter. B, to deliberate about a relevant matter. C, to take action on a relevant matter. D, at least one of the above, or E, all three of the above.
All right, Paul was daring and went first. Who's
I feel like that's a trick.
It is a trick.
I
Of course it's a trick.
would say it's D or E.
You're correct. It's D. If you do any one of those things, then you are having a meeting. So think of your work meetings. In your work meetings, you don't take action. You don't do anything under number C, but it's still an open meeting. In your business meeting, you receive public comment and you deliberate and you take action. So all three fit. So if you are doing any one of those things as a public body, you're holding a meeting. Next question. A meeting is a gathering of a public body with a quorum present. How many members of the Syracuse City Council does it take to make a quorum? Mr. Cragen.
This is like law school.
Lawyers don't do math. That's why I picked on you.
I would say it's enough to have a vote that counts.
Okay. So you are a 6-member council, right? Is 3 a quorum?
Yes.
if they're 3 city council members?
Perhaps 3 is a quorum. Let's go with the general answer that it's going to be 4 because it has to be a majority, and generally 4 is clearly a majority of 6. 3 is iffy. Okay, so it takes at least 4 and sometimes 3 to make a quorum. With fewer members than that, what happens if only 2 of you show up? What do you do for your meeting?
It's not a meeting.
You go home. Yep. Next question. All meetings of a public body are open to the public. True or false? Abe?
False.
False. There can be closed meetings. Generally, the rule is that all meetings are open, and they are open unless they are closed, and there are certain criteria to hold a closed meeting and certain procedures that you have to go through. But yes, some meetings can be closed. Next question. A workshop is not open to the public. I remember back in the day when I was serving on a city council, and if we didn't want to discuss something in public, we'd say, well, we're going to hold a workshop. Or we're going to go on a field trip. Are those things public meetings?
You're not going
Julie?
to call on somebody.
I just called Julie.
The public in our workshops now.
Yep. Though those things are public meetings, just like regular meetings, they can be closed, but unless they are closed pursuant to statute, they are in fact public meetings. So let's say you want to take a field trip down to the secondary water reservoir. And a bunch of you meet here and you get in a truck or a SUV and you drive down to the reservoir to look at it before we fill it up in the spring so that you can see how it works and what modifications might need to be made or maintenance needs to be done. If you're talking about the reservoir, if you're talking about secondary water, if you're talking about the funds that it might take to maintain it, you are in fact holding a public meeting so long as there's a quorum of you present. Okay. Workshops and field trips can be and generally are public meetings. Next one, how much public notice is required for a public meeting? Andrea.
What are you gonna guess? 24 hours?
24 hours at least. Good answer. Okay. Any exceptions to that? Yes, you can have emergency meetings. If you have an emergency meeting, you're still required to give as much public notice as is practicable under the circumstances. So you've got only 3 hours. The emergency has come up. You're going to get together at 7 o'clock. You give your public notice 3 hours early. You don't wait until 5 minutes before and then give your public notice. One more thing, if a public body holds regular meetings throughout the year, as the city council does, it meets every second and fourth, well, not every, but most second and fourth Tuesdays. At least once a year, you have to publish that schedule so that the public knows when your meetings generally are held. And finally, on this topic, an agenda. An agenda is required as part of the public notice for a public meeting. And in the agenda, you have to describe the items sufficiently so that the public can understand what it is that you're going to talk about. Next question, Mayor, this one's coming to you. A public body may take final action on a relevant matter in a public meeting, even if the matter was not included on the agenda. True or false?
False.
False. Simply cannot do it. Of course, once again, there would be an exception for an emergency, but short of an emergency, if it's not on the agenda, it doesn't happen. Next question. Written minutes and recordings are required for open meetings, closed meetings, or all meetings? Paul?
C.
All meetings? Okay. Anyone else? Anyone want to help Paul?
In certain closed meetings, they can, some things are protected.
Yep. Written meetings are required for, written minutes and recordings are required for all open meetings, not necessarily for all closed meetings. And there are some exceptions there that we could talk about for the closed meetings. Now, a brief diversion about grandma. Let's say we have draft minutes. Are draft minutes public under the Government Records Access Management Act? Or can you say, sorry, they haven't been approved, I'm not going to distribute them to you?
Yes, you can say that.
Yes, you can, but you would be wrong if you did. Draft minutes are publicly available. What about approved minutes, public or non-public?
Public.
Julie, this one's going to be better for you. Yes, approved minutes are public. And what about recordings of public meetings? We broadcast our meetings live, right, Cassie? Is this recording public or non-public? Obviously, it's public. We're sending it out there.
My answer for everything is I'm going to refer to council.
My answer is if you refer to council, I'm going to refer to Cassie. Excuse me. Next question. A closed meeting may only be held if blank number of the members of the public body who are present vote to close. What number of you have to be present to close a public meeting?
Good question.
Is it a majority? Is it unanimous? Is it at least 2/3 or at least 1/2?
It's unanimous.
2/3.
At least 2/3. Okay, at least 2/3 of you. So we're back to the math questions again. If 6 members of the city council are present, how many have to vote to close the meeting? 4. If there are 5 of you present, how many have to vote to close the meeting?
4.
Still 4. 3 of you would only be 60%, and you've got to get to 66%. If 4 members of the council are present, how many have to vote to close the meeting? 3. And if only 3 members of the council are present, how many have to vote?
3.
It's a trick question. It probably would never happen because I think if there were only three of you, you wouldn't be holding a public or a closed meeting in most cases. A meeting may be closed to discuss the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of an individual. True or false? True. You can close a meeting to discuss those things. I've heard it said many times over the years, we're going to close the meeting to discuss a personnel issue. Well, that's not technically right. You have to be closing the meeting to talk about the character or professional competence or mental health or physical health of an individual.
And you may not know this, but you don't have to take minutes during that.
And you don't have to take minutes and you don't have to record that discussion for this type of a closed meeting. So what if you close a meeting to discuss changing the color of the public works' uniforms? That's a personnel issue, but it doesn't talk about the professional competence, right?
That would not be legal to close a meeting for that reason.
You could not do that. Let's see, I've got another one. Oh, you want to have a discussion about closing this administration building at noon on Christmas Eve. That's a personnel issue. But once again, it's not professional competence or character or physical or mental health. So not all personnel issues qualify to close the meetings. We're just about done. A meeting may be closed to discuss the purchase or sale of real property if a public discussion would disclose the appraised or estimated value of the property or prevent the public body from completing the transaction on the best possible terms. True or false?
True.
True. And we do that fairly regularly. I wanted to shorten the question, so it's not just sale or purchase. It also includes exchange or lease. We just kind of ran out of room there. The moral of the story is state statute has a list of times when you can close a public meeting, and if it ain't on the list, you can't close the meeting. A public body may not hold electronic meetings unless it has adopted an ordinance that allows and governs electronic meetings. That's straight out of the statute. So the question is, has Syracuse City adopted such an ordinance?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have, and you can hold public meetings. Excuse me, electronic meetings. How much public notice is required for an electronic meeting? Andrea?
That was 7 hours.
Let's go with the same that's
24.
Yes, thank you. I knew you'd get back to that number again. It doesn't make any difference when it's an in-person meeting or an electronic meeting. It's still that same 24-hour deadline. How many members of the city council can meet together outside of a meeting to talk about an action that will be taken in a future public meeting?
2.
2 could do it. Can 3 do it?
If one of them's the mayor.
Maybe 3. Can 4 do it?
Absolutely not.
4 can never do it. So anytime you're tempted to get together with 3 of your best friends and talk about something on an agenda and see how you're all going to vote, just don't do it in those numbers, okay? Can a member legally text other members about a relevant matter during a meeting? So let's say we're in this meeting and we're having a discussion. Can Paul text Julie and say, how are you going to vote on this? The answer is no. You can text each other and send emails to each other all you want when you're not in a public meeting. But when you're in a meeting, you got to turn your phones down. You don't have to turn them off, but just don't use them. You can't during the meeting. And we got 2 more questions. True or false? A court can void an action taken in violation of the Open and Public Meetings Act, but the plaintiff cannot recover attorney's fees. So we do something, we're in violation of the act, somebody sues us. Can the court void that action that we took?
Yes.
Yes. Can the court also impose attorney's fees and costs?
No.
Yes. So getting your action overturned or voided by the court, it's a slightly interesting thing. It's going to end up in the newspaper that happened. But paying that $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 attorney fee bill is not going to be fun. So let's don't go there. And I believe, finally, a member who knowingly or intentionally violates a law governing closed meetings can be charged with a crime. True or false?
True.
True. It's a Class B misdemeanor. The maximum fine is $1,850. The maximum time in jail is 6 months. So don't knowingly and intentionally violate the Open and Public Meetings Act. And thank you very much. Any questions?
Okay.
If you got more than 15 right, see me and I'll get some day-old donuts from the police department and share them with you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. That was awesome. Appreciate that. At this point, council, we're going to go to what we call our mayor and council reports. These are generally reports on the service that you have done in one of the committee assignments. Since we won't be talking about that until our next meeting, I don't expect to have a lot of council reports, but I will give you the opportunity in case there's something you need to report on. Let's start with you, Abe. Did you have anything you wanted to bring to the table?
I'm brand new. No, I'm good.
And no is an expectable answer at any meeting. Brett.
And nothing from me, thank you.
Okay, Paul.
I have already emailed out my notes from the planning commission meeting.
Excellent.
The CTC is back in session, so there'll be more next month. Communities that care.
Andrea.
I am also brand new.
Which is also just fine. I just have to ask, that way you're given an equal opportunity. And as far as me, I think most of the things that I have to report on were already reported on as agenda items, so I will defer to another date. I'm going to now open it up for public comment. Is there anybody that has a public comment for the council or? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. And then I am going to declare us in recess for 5 minutes. and we will reconvene in the conference room. The next part of is a discussion that I wanted to share with everybody about some of the things that have gone on just recently. So we will reconvene in 5 minutes in the boardroom or the conference room.